can hear the radio in the background from somebody.
Chair, just to let you know as well, recording has started.
Okay, thank you. I've just used the mute all button. Sorry about that. It's just there was a radio playing. Thank you very much, and I would wish you all good afternoon and welcome to this special meeting of the Education, Skills and Culture and Scrutiny Committee of the 1st of November 2021. Just to make you all aware, today's meeting will be recorded. Can I also welcome any members of the public and press to today's meeting? Can I kindly ask you to observe the meeting only and not speak or participate? Can I please remind you to switch off your phones or switch them to silent for the duration of the meeting? In addition, can I refer you to the protocols for remote meetings which have been previously circulated? Your microphones should be switched to mute unless you're speaking. Should you wish to participate and ask a question or make a comment, can you please indicate either via the chat function or by raising your electronic hands in Teams? I will assume that you have all read the paperwork before us today prior to the meeting. Please only use the chat function to indicate if you wish to speak as an alternative to the electronic hand function or to raise any technical issues. When asking a question, can you please indicate which page number you are referring to? I'm aware that some people have had problems with ModGov previous to this meeting, so that may be a little problematic, but please attempt to do that. The first item on the agenda is to do a roll call. I'm Councillor Sonia Reynolds, the chair, and I am present. I will now call on Charlotte, the Democratic Services Officer, to take the roll call.
Thanks, Chair. I've marked you as present. So if I move to the Vice Chair, Councillor Mizzen.
Yeah, I'm here, Charlotte.
Councillor Matthew Crowley.
Present, Charlotte.
Councillor Sian Harris.
Present, Charlotte is going off.
Councillor Jane Jones.
Present, Charlotte.
Dennis Keogh.
Present, Charlotte.
Councillor Sandra Miller. No. Councillor Marcia Spooner.
No, present, Charlotte.
I've had apologies from Councillor Rebecca Phillips. Councillor Mark Prothero.
I'm present, thanks, Charlotte.
Councillor Suzanne Renkes.
Present.
Then I've had apologies from Councillor Anthony John Richards. Councillor Dave Whitelock.
Present, thank you, Charlotte.
Councillor Rob Wood.
Present.
Councillor Joe Hale.
Present, thank you, Charlotte.
I've had apologies from co-opted member Marie Caddick. Co-opted member Roberto De Benedictis.
Present, Charlotte.
Thank you. I've also had apologies from Councillor Adam Moore. Not councillor, sorry, co-opted member. And then co-opted member Linda Newman.
Yes, present, Charlotte, thank you.
Thank you. And then if I move to cabinet members, Councillor Alan Lockyer.
Present, Charlotte.
Councillor Peter Rees.
Present, Charlotte.
If I move to officers, Andrew Thomas.
Present, Charlotte.
Chris Millis. Ian Guy.
Present, Charlotte.
Rhiannon Crowhurst.
Present, Charlotte.
Kate Windsor Brown.
Present, Charlotte.
Davis.
Present.
Yeah, and have I missed anyone at all that's participating in today's meeting?
Yes, Charlotte, myself.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Patterson.
I am a visitor to the committee. So.
Yes, no, that's completely my fault. I do apologise. I'll mark you as present. There we are. Sorry for missing you out. I do apologise.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Thanks.
That's it. We will be scrutinising the Welsh in Education Strategic Plan today. Can I please ask if members have any declarations of interest If you have a declaration of interest and it's a personal interest as a governor of a school, please raise your electronic hand. If there's any other interest, and of course you have a dispensation for that, if there's any other interest, could you please make that known?
Chair, can I also ask, for those of you that are putting your hands up, if I can just ask you to keep them up while I just make a note. Sorry, I do apologise, I won't be much longer.
There's a lot, Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through them as quickly as I can. There we are, Chair. For those of you that have your hands up, I will take it that you have a declaration as a governor and you have dispensation. But Chair, I don't know whether you want to ask now for those that have other interests, if necessary.
I will do. So if people could take the hands down, and then can I have anybody who's got another declaration who wishes to make that known?
I currently can only see Councillor Sian Harris's hand up.
Councillor Harris.
Hi, my daughter works in Cwmbrombil English medium school, but she is also a Welsh medium teacher, and I have dispensation to speak and vote.
And Charlotte, can I declare as a trustee of Canolfan Mardy, childcare provider through lots of tots, and I have dispensation to speak and vote. So if we then move to the to pre-decision scrutiny and the full report, we're looking at the Welsh in Education Strategic Plan. The recommendation on this is that it goes out to scrutiny. And I'd like to ask the officers if they wish to provide any sort of brief overview, or are you happy for us to go straight into questions? The officers presenting are Andrew Thomas and Rhiannon Crowhurst.
Chair, with your permission, I'd like to just make a few points and then hand over to Rhiannon. I think it is worthwhile Rhiannon taking members briefly through the report, for, which is, as you say, there for consultation. So today's meeting is about asking for permission to consult on Neath Talbot's draft WESP. Every local authority is required to publish a 10-year plan, and this is obviously our plan that we wish for permission to consult on. It's a 10-year plan, January 2022 to January 2032, which is quite a boggling timescale in terms of if you think about it, we're trying to plan for 10 years ahead, but I think it is important to have a long-term view about such a thing. If members approve the report today, we'll consult for 9 weeks with stakeholders, and that's from November the 5th to January the 7th. The intention then is obviously to consider the consultation responses. It's also true to say that, and Rhiannon will pick up on this in more detail, the working groups which have been set up to develop the WESP thus far, they will continue to work during the consultation period to develop the WESP further. But we then need to bring the WESP back to members, and before we submit to Welsh Government, the Constitution of Neath Talbot requires this to go to full council. And at the moment, this is planned to go to full council on February the 2nd, which is slightly outside of the Welsh Government timetable of every local authority submitting their WESP by the end of January. But I have had assurances from Welsh Government that the 2nd of February will be fine, because it's rather than organising a full council a couple of days earlier, so that won't be a problem. Our WESP, we feel, is ambitious. It does complement the national vision for Welsh language of 1 million Welsh speakers by 2050. And I just think it's worth just informing members of the partners that have been involved in developing this draft WESP thus far. And these are the partners that will continue to work with the local authority throughout and hopefully throughout getting this, ultimately get the WESP approved by Welsh Government, and then working over the next 10 years to meet the ambitions detailed within the document. Obviously, we've involved our schools to this point, Neath, Prague, Mizzen, Neath Talbot College, Swansea University, the Urdd, and of course, a very important partner, Welsh Government, in terms of its development. So that's all I'd like to say, Chair. I'll hand over to Rhiannon now and Kate, and then we will be available to take questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, I'll just briefly take you through the document. As Andrew said, he's touched on most of the key points already, but I think if I just explain to you how we've got to where we are so far, it might help you understand the document a little bit more. So as Andrew said, our starting point was the Welsh Government's 2050 strategy, a million Welsh speakers by 2050. And we've based the whole WESP around that target. We all recognise, of course, that every local authority has got a part to play in making those numbers. And it's not just our Welsh medium sector that needs to do that, but it's our English medium schools as well. So that was our starting point. We met as a forum probably at the end of January, I think, as most of you will know. I was quite new in post, and Kate Windsor-Brown, who has been leading on the WESP for us, who was a seconded head teacher from YGT Blind Dilys. She hadn't even started post then, to be fair, but she's worked really hard on this through the summer, to be fair to her. So we met as a full forum, and from that point we made it very clear that we didn't want this to be a Neath Talbot officer document. It was really important to us that this was involving all our partners across the whole of Neath Talbot and broader as well. So following on from that meeting, we held small working groups for each of the outcomes, and the outcomes are set by Welsh Government, and it was for us to work out how we were going to set a target and meet those targets within each of the outcomes. So throughout September, we met in working groups. From that, we took all the comments and all the offers of help as well. I must say, our partners have been very helpful, very supportive, but they've also been quite challenging, and really made sure that our targets, we believe, are quite ambitious and are in the spirit of working towards that 1 million Welsh speaker target. So we met again then as a forum in, I believe it was I can't remember, it was a couple of weeks ago, just to check that everybody was happy with the draft. Following that, we've had a few more working parties, and the draft you see in front of you now, I think, is probably as far as we're going to get without consultation. As Andrew said, this is really important to us. It is a consultation document. It isn't the finished version. We know that already there'll be other bits that we need to probably tweak and change as we go along. But the version you see in front of you now, we think, is ready to go out to see what stakeholders' view were on it. I think Andrew's already mentioned we're anticipating consultation to be the 5th of November to the 7th of January. Then we'll review all the comments and come back to you with a further report and hopefully the final draft. If you notice in the report, you'll see that we've got a target of increasing the number of Year 1 children taught through the medium Welsh from 16.8% to 31%. That's equivalent to 460 pupils. Now, we know that that's an ambitious number. We're very fortunate at the moment because our population is rising, and at the moment there are enough children to go around. And I don't see why some of those children shouldn't be targeted towards the Welsh medium sector. They're there already, and we are seeing, some of you will know, we've spoken about this before, we are seeing an increase in the number of children or the number of parents who are choosing Welsh medium education for their children. So we're starting at a good point. We're starting where we think there are children out there and parents out there who want this for their children anyway, and we need to accommodate them if we can. Overall, across the 10 years, we think this will equate to around 3 new schools. That is ambitious, but as I say, this is across 10 years. We've already started doing some work, and we believe that there is a demand in the Scrutiny area, and that those children are there waiting now to go into school. The schools are full in the Scrutiny area already, and Welsh medium schools which feed that area, YGT Castell Neath and YGT Tillerin, are at the point where we're going to start refusing children soon, and nobody wants to do that. That is not acceptable. So we believe that we're already a little bit ahead of the game here, and we're ready to go forward with this. What else can I tell you about? Andrew's talked about our partners, as I've said, that's really important. every time we push forward this plan, this won't be the one and only time that you get to see this plan or you get to hear about our targets. We will report back on the targets as we are going through the 10 years, and there will be other decisions that have to be made as we go along. For example, every time we want to establish a new school, we will have to go through statutory processes for that. So there'll be plenty of opportunity for comment and for consultation and all of these things that we are proposing. I think that's probably about it. I think everything else is in the document. I know Kate is here as well to answer any questions. She knows the absolute detail of this document far better than either Andrew or myself have to say. So are there any questions on the document? I think I'll hand over for questions now, if that's okay, Chair.
Thank you very much, Rhiannon. And I'm looking now to those people who indicated in the pre-briefing. So I'm going first to Councillor Suzanne Patterson.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm not a member of this committee. I've come here out of pure interest because I was one of the members on the Council Task and Finish group as to how we could get to the million within our share of that million in Neath Talbot. And I became almost an evangelist of trying to get children to be educated in the medium of Welsh. My child, when I came to send her to school, I felt as a parent that I couldn't send them to a Welsh medium school because I didn't speak Welsh. And I think that's one of the things that we need to get across to people is you do not have to speak Welsh in order to send your child to a Welsh medium school. So I had some questions that started on page 24. The bullet points saying negative perception of the inherent value of the language, and bullet point 4, a lack of awareness of the value of bilingualism. And I was going to ask, how are you going to address these points? And when I read further on page 35, you've got the bullet points there that you are going to be getting help from outside agency. Now, my question was, for myself and for anybody that wishes to consult, they'll reply to the consultation, but then going forward, should that be accepted, how would people with ideas on how to broadcast this? Because it's members of the public like me who've never been educated in Welsh. I can't even read Welsh without the people laughing at my pronunciation. To engage to such a point and realise that they really will be helping their children if they send them to Welsh medium schools to get our language, your language back up. I'm speaking as an English person, to get your language back up and running. So who do people go to? Is it the as mentioned on page 35, and I made everybody laugh in pre-briefing because my pronunciation was so bad. It was Meistryn. I'm sorry, I do apologise. It's on page 35 and it's bullet point 1, 2, 3 down. That you'll be working closely. So could officers tell me, do they go to that organisation or do they come via the council if they have ideas as to how we can expand Welsh medium education?
Is that Kate going to answer that, or?
Yeah, I was just going to say, are you happy to answer that question, Kate?
Yes, I'm happy. I think the important thing there to note is that parents don't have to go and look for somebody to find the answers, and we as an authority have to provide those answers and make it obvious to parents. We don't want parents to have to go to the way to actually look for it. So what we've done through the WESP as well, I think it's important to note these are just the overarching targets that you've seen today, and within each outcome we also have a broken down working document of how are we going to achieve these targets and these outcomes. And what we've done is try and map it out. It's early days, as we said, we've only been working 2 months on this, month and a half, but we're going to try and map it out from pre-birth through to 25.
Right.
So instead of having to go and look for this information when your child is 1, 2, 3, we are starting already to work in consultation with Swansea University at the moment because they hold the midwifery course there. So they also have Academy Hywel Taifi there, which promotes the Welsh language within various sectors. So we're already in consultation with them to try and embed this idea into the midwifery course before they actually qualify. Then that will be rolled out then into the wider community. We also have health visitors, which are going to be part of this working party as well. And we have various other people we have that have also, they've already worked with some people within the local authority. An example of this is Cwmni Spectrum, which came in to actually promote bilingualism and the benefits of bilingualism for officers within the authority. And the plan is to do something similar with health, with midwives, etc. So that the idea is that the information is there from a pre-birth age. And then we have also Mudiad Meithrin, but we also have the Mentor Iaith who play a vital role in this. Mentor Iaith are they're very proactive in our communities, and they already have a wide range of information available. So it's up to us then as a WESP forum to make sure that this is widely distributed and that the information is easy to access and that parents don't have to go and look for the information. It's also important that we have the continuum through the WESP. So as you see, with outcome 1, 2, 3, 4, we have the progression from really pre-birth through to post-16, and we have to make the whole journey clear from pre-birth age, so parents know when the child reaches certain milestones that the access is just as easy when they reach 11 years old, when they reach 16 years old, and that there's a future for them in Welsh medium education and a future for them using the Welsh language. So this is going to be mapped, well, it started already to be mapped out even more in more detail within the outcome.
Thank you very much, Chair, and I'm fully supportive of this going out to consultation. As I say, I'm a visitor, but thank you very much for allowing me to come today.
Thank you, Councillor Patterson. And we move first to Councillor Mizzen, the Vice Chair, and then we'll go to Councillor Sian Harris. So, Councillor Mizzen.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Sonia. Yeah, I think Rhiannon have sort of preempted my observations come questions earlier on. I'm very happy with the plan, especially the idea of 3 new Welsh medium schools, and especially with one in the east of the borough, or the Port Talbot area. That's very good news, because I was going to mention, as you said, Rhiannon, up to 460 sort of children in year 1, that's an extra 200 plus. I was going to ask, and I know Tillerin and Rosavan and Castell were almost chock-a-block and full to capacity. So the new school would obviously take numbers away from them and relieve the pressure. So I think so. What I was going to ask was, if you bear with me a minute, on page 21, it says 3 new schools in 10 years. Then on page 31, it mentioned 2. I was wondering, because you said you sort of that one was in hand in the Scrutiny area, was that included, as the one of the 3 then? And if you bear with me, sorry, all those things we are in our capacity to do, we build new schools and things like that. But to increase the number of teaching staff, now that's beyond our control, isn't it? It all depends how many Welsh speakers go in to be teachers and things like that. So obviously you've got to work in conjunction with the colleges for that, isn't it? That's all I was going to mention as well and ask about. Thank you.
Who's going to take that?
I'll start it. Yeah, I'll start with the schools, just because, yes, you're quite right, Councillor Mizzen. I don't know why we've got the 2 different on one page. I'll have to go back and check. I can't find it on my screen at the minute. But yeah, I mean, the schooling one is along the path already. If we got the funding from Welsh Government, then we've already brought the report forward to members to see what our plans are there. So that is one that's almost definitely going to go ahead, all being well. The other 2 are a little bit less certain. We need to do a little bit more work along those and work out exactly where we can find land and where we, what numbers we want and all those sorts of things there. So that's the 3. I'll move over to Kate now to talk about staffing, because this is something we've given a lot of thought to, because you're absolutely right. We are finding that in our Welsh schools at the moment, it's not always easy to appoint staff. But we have a plan, or we think we have a plan. So I'll let Kate talk to you through that one. Is that okay, Kate?
Yes, that's fine. Going back to the previous point, it is an additional 2, because we mentioned the Skewen, and it would be an additional 2 on top of the Skewen school. So that's the 3 schools. As far as staffing, it is something that's been, this has been the most difficult outcome, and we talk about this in outcome 7 of the WESP. There are many partners involved, that's what makes it difficult, and as you say, some of this is out of our control, but we've already built up strong relationships with a lot of these partners over the summer, over the last few months, and I'm in close contact with them to try and promote this. One of the most important partners, again, we have is Swansea University. At present, we have a secondary school, and we have students doing the PGC secondary school. We have 13 a year going out to Ysgol Gymraeg Yslefera Brodir. So we have 13 there within our authority. Most of them from last year have been actually had employment, some of them within our authority. But it's quite exciting that this year as well, that programme with Swansea University BGC Primary, it has been rolled out as well. So we have at least 13 primary teachers that are going to be on placement within Neath and Talbot. So it'll be all within the cluster schools of the Yslefera Brodir cluster schools, the Welsh ones in Neath and Talbot. So I have been reassured as well by the head of this school that the standard of these teachers coming out from Swansea University are exceptional, which is good news to us. And it's important to note here that although we have these 3 schools, each one will start as starter schools. For example, the Skewer one will start with just the nursery reception. So we are not looking for a full complement of staff immediately for these schools. So out of just the 13 we have coming from Swansea University, without the others, we have many other neighbouring authorities which produce, I'm sure, excellent students as well, and some already within the system. So hopefully then we'll have a wide range of excellent teachers that we could employ within these schools. But they are starter schools to begin with. So it's about 3 or 4 a year we may be looking at and building on that. It's not as if we have to complement a whole school immediately. So that's quite good news, working in partnership with Swansea University.
Yeah, good news. Because, you know, only in a school admissions forum last week, as Peter knows, Julia Griffiths from Rosehaven was saying she was unable to get one teacher, wasn't she, Peter? You know, she was one down. So, you know, it's good news, really. Thanks.
Rhiannon, did you want to follow on?
Yeah, yes, please. Just to say as well, alongside this, and this will take a little bit longer, I'm aware, we've got a training for the Welsh teacher sabbatical scheme, which you would have heard of, I'm sure, has been running a while. But we're looking at tightening this up and making it more of a strategic sort of plan, if you like, so that rather than random teachers who wanted to do it coming from all over the authority, we're going to try and target it. For example, you know, there may be teachers in the Scrutiny schools, for example, who would you know, be looking to transfer. They might feel their Welsh skills are not strong enough at the moment. Well, this sabbatical could help build up those skills to get them to a level where they'd be able to teach through the medium of Welsh, which means, you know, in the longer term, we may be able to sort of swap teachers around. And if we're finding that we are short of teachers, then we'll have this bank of teachers who are teaching in the English medium sector, but whose Welsh will be good enough to perhaps go through to the Welsh medium sector as well. So while we're expecting the Welsh medium to grow and the English medium to gradually decline over a long number, you know, over the 10 years, because we don't expect the population to keep growing forever, we have that sort of plan in our back pocket as well. So we're hoping that will be another way forward to make sure we've got the staff available. Early days yet, though, I will say, and it's got to be firmed up and sort of really padded out a bit yet, but that's the plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that all from you, Councillor Mizzen?
Yes, that's all, Chair. Thanks for the excellent answers.
In that case, we move on to Councillor Sean Harris.
Sorry, I'm blocking my camera. Hiya, Kate. Long time no speak. Kate Coating had the pleasure of teaching my children. So, Kate, what I was going to ask was, would there be a need for us to get involved in some kind of focus group? Because from my own experience, coming from an English speaking background and then having a daughter who actually goes on to do a teacher training in Welsh, some of us might have some experiences that you could actually use in any kind of a focus group.
The plan at the moment is we started with the groups we had, but definitely we aim even by January to expand these groups and to bring all parties that are interested that could contribute into our different groups as well. So I'd be more than happy to have parents on board. Because I know we have Brag, the Rhieni Addysg Gymraeg, as representatives within the group, but it's nice to hear as well from people like yourselves who've actually been through the system and know exactly what works and what doesn't. So we'd be more than happy to have as many councillors on board as we could within the working parties.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions coming? Can't see any further hands. I have a couple of questions, if I may. One I just wanted to point out in the background paper on page 13 that I'm sure, and it was lovely to hear Andrew indicate quite clearly our need to hear and take account of the views of the people who get involved in the consultation. It would be nice to see that recognised in the reasons for the proposed decision. I realise that it's a legal issue that makes us go to, but it does feel as though we're relying on that and having to do it rather than doing it because we need to take account and want to take account of those issues. And I know that we do, and I know a lot of effort has gone into that so far. I was also pleased, and I really welcome this report, but I was also pleased to hear the sort of the view that this is sort of pre-birth almost and going through. And Andrew will probably realise what's coming here. I'm wondering what engagement there's going to be going forward and whether there will be focus groups and consideration with the childcare sector. It is wider than just that represented by the Middiad Mithrin, and I'm wondering if that's if that gives them strong enough voice in this, given that the childcare route and Welsh medium within that is one of the strongest ways for getting some children involved in the early years and getting them into Welsh medium primary schools. And I wondered if somebody could comment going forward. Thank you.
Yeah, Kate, I'll pass over to you in a minute. I'll start again. I'll be like a double act this afternoon. Yeah, I think Middiad Mithrin is mentioned there because it's one of the particular strong Welsh medium groups that we've worked with, the Welsh language groups, I should say. As part of our Outcome 1 working party is really quite large. It's the largest group that we've got so far because it's so many people are representing different groups in it. So we've got the Flying Starter in there. Our local authority childcare officers are part of that group. We've got some of the play team are in there, I believe. It's quite a wide group already. We haven't got any individual childcare people as such. It's represented more by the authority at the moment. But certainly it's not just about nursery schools, if you like. It is certainly much wider than that. And we more than recognise that this is where it all starts. Parents don't make decisions when their child turns 3. They make those decisions when they're born. They're starting to think about it already. I know from my little granddaughter's just started a Welsh medium school now, and I know my daughter was agonising from the time she was about 3 months old. You know, should she go to a Welsh medium or English medium down the road or further afield, or all these decisions are made very, very early on. We are aware of that, and we have been trying to bring as many groups as we can. Kate, do you want to add to that, because you worked with that group in particular?
No, just really to add to what you were saying, what we based Outcome 1 on, we have looked at it. We've looked at the childcare sufficiency report for this year that's been updated. So we have all the information there about the different settings within Neath and Talbot, which ones are English medium, Welsh medium, bilingual. So we've started doing the behind the scenes work there about exactly who to target, where to target. And we do have an excellent officer working for the early years who started that dialogue already with many of these organisations. And also to work with them to turn them from maybe English settings into bilingual settings, or from bilingual settings into purely Welsh settings. So that work has also started as a result of the childcare sufficiency report that was done April, I believe, of this year. So we have all that information ready, started working on it, started targeting certain areas and certain groups, and that will also develop, and we will bring those people as well into different forums and different groups, because they'll be part of the sub-actions that sit underneath these overarching targets within the WESP.
Thank you. Will there be, you've mentioned a lot of support for Welsh medium teachers and improving Welsh and provision in teachers. Will there be any similar support for childcare providers? And I know that Andrew's told me it's not our sector to deal with, but as an authority, if we mention it in the plan.
Middiad Mithrin have already started on that. They do have various courses going to promote the Welsh and to help people learn Welsh within these settings. So that help is out there. So it's more of a job for us to actually signpost these people to the right agencies and to the right support, because it's already out there.
Thank you very much. Okay, I don't see any other further questions. Can I? Councillor Mizzen has just indicated, so I'll pass across to him.
Thank you, Chair. Something just came to me now. I was reading part of the notes that I made a note on. I don't know if we'd be able to answer this, Andrew or Rhiannon, whoever know. Perhaps there's something for the future. But I know Aled did mention it to me before he'd finished. Can you see, or can you envisage sometime in the next few years that pupils at the Broaddeal South campus here will be able to carry on their A-levels in that campus instead of transferring up to Ystlyfera? I was just wondering if that would be, relevant now.
Yeah, thank you, Richard. Yeah, absolutely. I think the we need to tie together our Band C Welsh media sort of capital request of Welsh Government for capital funding together with our WESP aspirations. And I think that when we bring a report to members in the new year around what Band C will look like, quite clearly there's going to be mention of Welsh medium primary schools, because within the West we've just told you that we're planning on opening 3. One of them is an existing building, the other 2 don't exist currently. So to realise that ambition, we're quite clearly going to need some help from Welsh Government in terms of capital funding. But also, you're absolutely right, our secondary and our 6-1 provision needs to be considered as part of that. Yes, I do envisage a time. I think it's really important that we look at the demand so that the timing of it is correct. There are a number of developments around post-16 Welsh medium provision in the east of the county that we need to consider. There are other providers of post-16 in the area, and we need to make sure that we're making the best use of public money, but at the same time demonstrate our real commitment to the Welsh language in earnest, and not sort of dilute that through trying to save money or sort of double up on buildings, if you like. So we'll need a careful plan around it. But the answer to your question in broad terms is yes, I do. I think it's just a case of when to make sure that we optimise the use of public funding.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Councillor Sian Harris. Councillor Harris.
My hand's not up.
All right, sorry.
Councillor Jane Jones's
hand.
hand.
It was on my screen. Sorry, Sian. It's obviously a legacy and it's taking its time. Councillor Jane Jones, then.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just wondering, these new schools, these 3 schools, are they going to be super schools? And if so, what other schools are going to go in the next 10 years?
Right, well, I'll answer the question about the Welsh medium primaries. There'll be no intention they would be standalone Welsh medium primaries. As Kate said, we'd be building these schools up from nursery. That would be the intention. So there'd be no closing schools to open new Welsh medium primary schools. These are additional to the estate that is currently in place.
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, I see no further hands or indications to speak. So can I ask that we move to look at the recommendation? And the recommendation is that that Cabinet sends this to scrutiny, sends this to consultation. And are we happy to support that to the Cabinet Board? Can I have a proposer for that, please?
I propose that, Chair.
Thank you. And a second.
Chair.
Thank you. In that case, we look forward to the outcomes of what looks like being an interesting consultation, and thank you for a good quality report to all the officers there. We have no urgent items for this meeting. It is a special meeting, so I thank you all for your attendance, and we close the meeting. Thank you. Oh, Andrew, sorry. Andrew.
Thank you, Chair. Just as scrutiny now have voted, I would like to say one thing. I would like to pick Rhiannon up on her date. She said earlier that in January we started working on this. She actually meant June. In June pretty much had a blank sheet of paper. The work that Rhiannon and Kate have done in a short space of time, but more importantly, working with partners and getting partners on board has been nothing short of miraculous. So I just wanted to pay tribute to those two officers. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you all. Thank you, Rhiannon. Well done. Okay. In that case, I close the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you,
Take
Chair.
care.
Thank you, Chair.
Take care
Bye,
very much,
all.
guys.
Bye, bye, bye.